time for the news. Let's talk about a few things that have been going on lately, both here in Krakow and nationwide.
That wasn't a very European, if you know.
Yeah, a European? What's a European? Yeah.
You're a European now. We own you now.
No idea what that means. We'll just keep moving.
Yeah.
The mayor of Krakow, Jacek Majchrowski, he has he's made up his mind, for now anyway, in the months-long game of will he or won't he he's been playing. And he has announced that he is going to run for mayor once again, looking for what would be his 73rd term as mayor of the city.
He's the only mayor I've ever known.
Been mayor since 2002.
Some run.
Now, at this point, when you've already been mayor for 16 years and you're looking for another term, are you just being selfish at that point? Do you have something left to prove or something left to do? Or are you just taking pleasure in keeping other people out of your chair?
Well, I think it's a strong sense of civic duty and the awareness that there isn't really serious competition out there, or indeed anyone competent to run the city in quite the way that he has.
I'm not sure if the first bit was sarcastic or not. Sometimes I can never tell with you, Josh.
Sometimes it's very hard to tell. Isn't it?
Yeah, you sound like, are you being paid to say that? You sound like a representative of his campaign or something.
No money changed hands whatsoever.
No, I mean, isn't the obvious question here, Mr. Majchrowski, what's left to do that you just didn't have time to get around to in your first 16 years in the mayor's chair?
I hope you're not asking me.
Yeah, I'm pointing the finger at you, David. Explain.
Get the last of those modern trams installed. You know, when you see the real old ones, and you're like, oh, there's no air conditioning on that.
It's like the last dirty building on Dietler, isn't it? It's like it stands out like a sore.
Sort it out, man. That's probably that. Little things like that are motivating them, maybe.
Wait, is there a single last dirty building on Dietler?
I was exaggerating for dramatic effect.
Single one, yeah.
That was the sarcasm.
Can we blame him for the city's smog problem? Yes or no?
Is it a stain on his record? You see what it did there?
An actual stain. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be harsh to lay it all at his feet, but certainly it's an issue that could undo him at the polls, from what I've read.
On the other side,
people want change on that subject.
Do we give him credit for the progress we've seen over the last 15, 20 years?
Definitely. You've got to give anyone who's been the mayor of this city over the last 16 years some credit. I mean, there's been wonderful, wonderful things have happened in Krakow. I mean,
what's weird, though?
Transformed.
Every time I see his name in the news, I always wonder why
it was pretty awesome when I got here.
We don't see more discussion about something. This is absolutely true. This sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's absolutely true. The mayor of Krakow, Majchrowski, he is part owner, certainly an investor, has some financial stake in a private university across the river. It's called KSW, right across the river, right across the new bridge. And he profits from this significantly, I presume. I think it's a very successful university financially. And as mayor, he was able to, he oversaw the construction of the bridge, which, hey, surprise, led transport arteries directly to his school. The trams go over there. Is there something of a conflict of interest in being the mayor and financially benefiting from a university that makes huge money?
There is, in fact, a business park also right next door to the university as well, isn't it? Although I'm sure that that's completely unconnected. I don't know. I mean, it would be wrong of us in our position, I think, to insinuate any wrongdoing.
Well, there's always whispers about any politician in power for that long, but some of it is substantiated by his connections to developers is another one. Developers have free reign, essentially. It seems in Krakow anyway. They can always get what they want.
Yeah.
Concrete block after concrete block. At the end of the day, the mayor is the one who sets the agenda for the growth of the city. So can't we point at him when we talk about how overcrowded some of the parts of the city are becoming?
Well, I mean, there's an argument to be made for density as well, and these modern buildings are pretty well put together. I mean, I don't think they're ugly blocks being thrown up all around town. I'd have to challenge it on that one, John.
Yeah, I think Dave's got a point there. I mean, all these new developments, they are actually quite attractive blocks of flats compared to their, shall we say, predecessors from the 60s and 70s, which are almost uniformly grey and ugly.
Well, you can't give him credit for that. It's just design and,
Yeah, but I mean, if he's being liberal with the planning consents and allowing people to put up developments that are attractive to look at, then that's surely better than... I
mean, we remember when a trip down to the offices to the Urjan Skarbovi past Mogilska was, you felt like you're on the edge of the city, and no longer. Now it's thriving.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the mayor's race, and we look forward to his decision next week to withdraw from the race and then re-enter the week after that. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and don't put your fees up in your school.
Let's go.
We're watching you.
Let's go nationwide here. News from the sports world, Dave. Dave, you're always complaining about not having enough sports talk. So here we go. You ready for this?
Oh my goodness! What are we?
Get ready. Big news.
So excited.
Manager of the national.
Are you going to ask me about the World Cup?
The World Cup. The national men's football team. See, I said football. To represent Poland in next month's World Cup in Russia has been announced. 23 members of the team. Not too many surprises. Błaszczykowski and wait for it. Can you guess a single other name on the team that's going to go? Anyone?
Wojtek Szczęsny.
Okay, another one.
Piszczek.
Okay, Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's easy to forget about him. Yeah. Dave, I'll defer to your knowledge on this one. Josh, you as well. Is Lewandowski going to show up on the big stage?
Well, he's broken the record in qualifying for goals scored, 16. Never been done in a World Cup qualifying group. The guy's a killer. He just picked up the top scorer award, another Bundesliga trophy, And against Real Madrid, he maybe could have done a little bit better in the Champions League this year, but Keylor Navas made some amazing saves. And overall, I think it's going to be a long time until Poland has another footballer who, let's not forget, it's the most popular sport in the world by an absolute country mile. To have a footballer in the top 10 where you can firmly say he's absolutely we get in nearly any team in the world, that is an incredible achievement for any country. Yeah. And if you can't get excited about that, I know Poland haven't really performed as well as they can in major championships, but this is going to be the one. I know it.
This is it.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first. Go make your bets. Blame
the rest
Dave
of the guys in
out.
that squad need to just look at a picture of Lewandowski every night and say, we got to get this guy the ball inside the box as many times as possible. I'm excited.
Sounds like a bad strategy. Just give him the ball all the time. I don't know if is that a winner?
Yeah, that's a winner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a winner.
Well, we're going to see.
Let's talk about how the US somehow failed to qualify. How the easiest group.
Just like Ireland.
Yeah, it's a little tougher in Denmark in the playoffs for finishing second. You could never have finished second in our group.
Anyway,
Panama knocked you out.
By the way,
the mighty Panamanians.
are you finished?
Roberto Duran might be their coach.
By the way, just a reminder, we are putting together a show we're going to broadcast in a couple of weeks just before the start of the World Cup with a special guest, a knowledgeable guest, actually.
Cheers.
That's going to comment on the Polish national men's team and their chances in the World Cup. So stay tuned for that. Oh, before we move on, speaking of Lewandowski,
let's speak.
We've talked about this a couple of times before, just off camera, off microphone, about how he's in every commercial on television. It seems he's on every billboard. I saw him on the way here today. The billboard for Huawei. How do you say that phone company?
When they came out first in Dublin, the Dublin Wags were calling them Howie. It's just how we greet people.
Huawei, I see him on television for Head and Shoulders and all the phone companies and suit companies. He's everywhere. But it's interesting, over the last 15 years or so, seems to me that for marketing purposes, there's always a single Polish sportsman or sometimes sportswoman that is everywhere all the time until they're replaced by the next one, of course. I guess Lewandowski's still on top. I don't know who's going to replace him. Remember the days of Małysz? Remember when Małysz was everywhere? Adam Małysz?
Oh, Adam Małysz.
When I first arrived in Poland, he was huge. You remember, Josh?
Was there anything that guy didn't promote? No, is the answer. No.
When I first got to Krakow, I ended up... it wasn't first time I got here. No, it was a little bit later than that. And Galeria Krakowska was open. And I went there. And maybe I'm thinking of another place, Media Mart. I'm not sure if Krakowska opened for a few years after I got here. Anyway, I go into this large electronics store. And I had no idea who the hell Adam Małysz was or that Poland loves ski jumping. And the entire store, all the employees, it seemed to me, apart from the people on the till, obviously, were just all standing at the back watching the TVs. It was Adam Małysz winning the World Cup. I was like, can somebody please attend to my needs?
The country came to a standstill. They came to a standstill. I remember that, absolutely.
It was crazy.
So it was Małysz. Then it was Robert Kubica, the F1 driver.
Oh, yeah.
He was everywhere all the time. Then Otylia Jędrzejczyk, the swimmer. Not quite. Her reign as the marketing queen did not last quite as long as Małysz. Then there was Justyna Kowalska, Then there was Lewandowski, basically. Well, again, we'll see who's next.
Radvanska.
But, Radvanska, she's
a mega
she was
star.
there. Yeah, she is, absolutely.
Isn't there another ski jumper in here somewhere?
Camille Stoke.
Yes.
Dave, you sound like you're the knowledgeable ski jumping fan.
Well,
now.
my other half, like most Polish people, loves their ski jumping.
Mine too, yeah.
My problem with ski jumping is this, okay?
Here we go.
I'm a massive fan of the idea of it. I cannot believe any human being has the bottle to try that for the first time. I mean, imagine the first time you stand at the top of a 90 metre, you go, can I please go home now? So that's great, but somehow the most dangerous sport in winter sports is also the most boring, because we only see the unentertaining final products of what would be very entertaining, which I would like to see, is they should stop televising the final events and they should show amateurs practicing ski jumping on television. Now that I'd watch.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen that movie, Eddie the Eagle? I was in a cinema watching that, obviously cinema has quite a large screen, different camera angles, etc. And that's what ski jumping should all be about, like they should have GoPro helmets.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would really liven it up, I think, wouldn't it?
Sorry.
So I got lost. Are you a fan or not?
I'm a fan
it
of
sounds
the
like
idea.
You're getting excited about
I'm a fan of the bravery, but I have a little bit of an issue. Didn't Stoke, hasn't he pipped Lewandowski to the Polish Sports Person of the Year a few years running?
That's right.
Now, Lewandowski has won it once, I think, but, Zlatan won Swedish Sports Personality of the Year like 9 times in a row. And I think that's a recognition that I would say, Poland, give it to Lewandowski. You ain't going to see another footballer like him in a long time.
Ski jumping not big in Ireland then?
It's not massive. We don't have any proper mountains, John. We have hills.
Speaking of hills, I have
Never
no idea.
been to Ireland, have you?
No. Actually, I have. No, I take that back. I have. I just forgot about it.
We should talk about
I have no idea how to segue into this next subject. Let's just move on. In more serious international news, diplomatic news, Poland very vocal this week in its support for expanding membership of the European Union southeastward, to include what they call, I think it's the West Balkans, the former Yugoslavian states of Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, and I think Albania as well, and maybe somebody else. Macedonia, exactly. What do we make of Poland's enthusiasm for expanding the club?
Well, it's more the EU's enthusiasm. They've had their strategy for the Western Balkans for a long time now. It's been well publicised. It's the next logical step in EU expansion, namely because it's surrounded by EU countries, the Western Balkans. I was going to ask you, John, since you love a quiz, can you name 4 countries that surround the Western Balkans that are EU members?
Put me on the spot. I'm going to go with Croatia. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Greece. I'm going to go with Romania and Bulgaria. Mm-hmm. That's 4.
Yeah. I left you one.
Did I win?
You won so easily that I'm a bit embarrassed that I left.
John, get ready for this.
There's actually 5 Hungary as well, but I thought that's too difficult. I just wanted 4 out of 5 and you just reeled
Hungary
them on.
was next on the tip of my tongue, but I stopped at 4. Anyway.
Yeah, didn't you major in geography?
Nice
I shouldn't have really went there. Okay.
Nice try. But here's the question for you, Josh and Dave. At what point is it fair to ask what it means to be in the club if everybody is in the club?
Well, the strategy proclaims quite clearly that it shall be a caravan rather than a flotilla. So what they're saying is that some of these 6 countries are very far away from getting to the end of, I believe it's a 25-point plan when you join the EU. It's an incredibly detailed process. And most of the stuff that you're forced to do, it's just good governance, good rule of law, free markets, good regulations in terms of not having graft, not having corruption in the system. I mean, who wants more corruption in their political system, can you ask?
There's that great. I mean, it's maybe a little diversion, but there was that great story about when the euro was coming in, and there were financial governance guidelines being issued, and you had to have had over a period of time balanced budget, low inflation, blah 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 blah, and the Italians, who've always played a little fast and loose with such things, basically took an enormous punt on the markets, which came in, which meant that the books not only balanced, they looked very, very healthy, and thus they qualified for the Euro. And I've always liked that little story, which is not very well known these days.
No, it's. I mean, what year would that have been? Long way back.
Early 90s, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one, yeah. And I think there's been lessons learned from the last expansion, when maybe there were maybe too many countries at once, it was felt overall. But, overall, I'm totally in favour of the expansion to the Western Balkans.
But wait a second,
as long as, Sean, I'm not finished, as long as the rules are stuck to. And that's the crucial bit. There is an incredibly detailed set of steps that you have to pass to become a member. And I think it'd be fair to say there have been cases in the past, Greece as one example, where books have been cooked. As Josh just pointed out, that's not even as recent as I thought it was.
You're talking about books being cooked and following steps and guidelines and rules and procedures, and yet you think Albania, no offense, sorry, this sounds nastier than I mean it, but you think Albania is a proper candidate for EU membership. If they're in, who's not in? Sorry, Albania.
Can I just point something out? Yeah, Serbia and Montenegro are the only two that could be realistically admitted, possibly in 2025. And the strategy, the roadmap that they've laid out, says it's possible Albania would be spoken to about joining by 2025. So this has been addressed. There is absolutely no element of that document that says, oh yeah, let's let the 6 of them join at once. They're all the same. There's an absolute recognition that, yes, what you're saying is completely true. Albania has a long road to travel before.
Then how do you say no to Ukraine? How do you say no to Turkey?
Well, that's a much more difficult question. And the whole idea of Western expansion in the EU at some level is always about counterbalancing the aggressive nature of Russians' foreign policy. That has always been a strategic element of European life, and I'm broadly in favour of Poland's support of this expansion because it just strengthens the EU if it's done right. Poland, we live in an example of how it can be done right.
Speaking of examples, another example in the news about Poland kind of flexing its muscles on the international stage in New Jersey, of all places. This has been all over the news. In New Jersey, Jersey City. I'm going to refrain from making any jokes, but anyway, Jersey City. I'll just leave it at that.
Jersey City.
Jersey City. There's a statue there that commemorates the victims of the Katyn massacre, which we're all familiar with, of course. And it's in the news because the city council in Jersey City decided to move the statue, not do away with it, not get rid of it, but simply move it to accommodate some kind of development plan. And moving it has infuriated a lot of people, and the emotions have spilled over all the way across the ocean here to Poland, where many politicians, local and national, felt the need to weigh in on the issue and tell the politicians in New Jersey exactly how they felt about it. It's a big deal. I have my own opinion on this. You guys go first. We'll come back to me.
Where are they moving it to exactly?
The precise place is not specified. The news accounts I've read just say same general area, literally a matter of 100 meters or so further up or down the street.
Okay. Yeah, I could see how these things, become a controversy, but I mean, now that you've described it to me, if it was moved to an appropriate location, respectfully, would that be a massive issue? I'm not sure, Josh. Would it?
Well, I think there was some
Depends what's being built, I suppose.
Either there was misinformation or the plans were changed because of the outrage that was generated. But I think originally it was assumed that the statue was going to be moved from a place of high visibility right next to the river into some, dark corner where it would be more or less overlooked. But apparently the current situation is it is going to be moved a mere 200 metres from its current location and will still be equally visible.
Has a compromise already been reached?
Sounds like it.
All right, I'm going to step into some hot water here.
Go for it, John.
You're welcome to join me, or you can watch me burn. I don't care.
You don't burn in hot water, you boil.
My first response to this is, here we go.
Come on.
Why do we have a statue commemorating the victims of the Katyn massacre in Jersey City?
I don't know. Who got a commission? Some Polish immigrants?
Before you start writing some hate mail or something.
If they got a huge immigrant population.
Wait a second. I'm in no way denigrating the memory of anyone involved with Katyn. Absolute respect for that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not trying to diminish anything that happened to Katyn, but it happened in Katyn. And it's of enormous significance to Poles in Poland, and I completely understand that. I completely respect that, but that's my first question. Why is there a statue in Jersey City? Why isn't there a statue commemorating for example, the American dead of the Revolutionary War here in Krakow? Why isn't there a Katyn monument in Dublin, Dave?
What about this? What about that?
No, I mean, really. Why do we have the statue?
I'm imagining we could probably find out pretty easily. I'd say some wealthy Polish guy got it commissioned because, maybe he had a connection to it. That's usually how a statue gets put up, isn't it? How old is the statue? When did it go up?
Yeah. Dave, thanks for... Oh, sorry, 1991. I was about to thank you for ambushing me with
questions.
With questions. Fortunately, I have it right in front of me. It's 1991. So it's not like it's been there for ages and ages and ages. But, actually, it could only be there from...
Well, the details of the
war,
Katyn massacre,
But no, I just, why there? Why do we have the statue? Secondly, again, more hot water. I'm going to swim deeper into this pool. Since when do Polish politicians have veto power over statues in New Jersey?
Oh, since when did outrage ever keep you out of the media?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, again, we get into this, complicated matrix of sensibilities and sensitivities and victimhood and whatnot, and it gets really nasty really quickly. But if they want to move they're not proposing taking the statue and sinking it to the bottom of the river. They're not proposing putting a skirt on the statue and putting makeup on it or just defacing it somehow. No, they just want to move it. That's it.
To be fair, it's an extremely dramatic statue. I mean, funnily enough, only a few weeks ago, completely unconnected, I was looking at a whole kind of suite of photographs of various locations in the United States, and there was this picture of this dramatic statue of what looked like a soldier completely impaled by a bayonet, arms outstretched in the process of falling over. Right. I was like, what on earth is that? And then it was in New Jersey, and it was a commemoration of Katyn. So I actually was familiar with this, and it's extraordinary sculpture. I mean, it really, you look at it and you think, my God, this is about something.
Definitely.
But I guess if you're in New Jersey, then you imagine it's about something to do with the United States.
Well, this just strikes me as one of those things that's going to be replaced by next week's outrage of the week. So I doubt we'll be talking about this or seeing it in the news anytime soon after it blows over. Last thing in the news. If you were in Gdansk last week, you may have noticed something odd.
Something in the air.
Something in the air, yeah. I'm quoting here, millions of tons. Think about that. Millions of tons.
I'd rather not, because I know what you're about to say.
Millions of tons of untreated sewage made their way into the river in the Bay of Gdansk last week, and pumps at the site were unable to handle the problem.
Yeah, no shit.
Here's a quote. Exactly. Here's a quote from an authority on the scene. I think it says it all. Quote, "The latest reading suggests that there is a great probability that pollution limits in the Bay of Gdansk have been overstepped." Well, let's hope he stepped over them.
You think, official?
Yeah, officials complaining that up until now they'd merely been going through the motions.
On a more serious note, what's the cleanup plan? What's the ETA on getting Gdansk Bay back to normal here?
How do you clean this up? You just wait for nature to take its course and take everything away from you, hopefully? How does this work?
As a species, we're hoping the ocean's good at dealing with our crap, because we do dump quite a lot of it in it.
Well, for anybody planning a trip to Gdansk or the area, maybe to go to the beach or something, you might want to wait for a week or 6, something like that.
Yes.
Well, we're going to wrap it up for this week.
On that bum note.
Oh, I see what you did there. Thanks for listening, everybody, to the Krakcast. Make sure to tune in next time for more news and views about Krakow and beyond. Thanks for listening.